The grand halls of Buckingham Palace shimmered under the golden glow of chandeliers, but beneath the opulent facade, a storm was brewing. Prince William, the stoic heir to the throne, stood in the king's private study, his jaw clenched as he *read at a dossier stamped with the royal seal. His father, King Charles III, sat behind the mahogany desk, his expression unreadable. "Father, how could you?" William's voice was low, trembling with barely contained fury. "A deal with Harry. Behind my back." The king sighed, his weathered hands folding the dossier shut. "Well, Liam, you must understand. This was for the good of the family. William interrupted, his blue eyes blazing. "He abandoned us. He betrayed the crown with his interviews, his book, his circus. And now you've made a pact with him." The secret deal, as William had just discovered, was a clandestine agreement between King Charles and Prince Harry, the estranged Duke of Sussex. Harry, living in California with Meghan and their children, had been quietly negotiating with the king to secure a limited return to royal duties. In exchange, Harry promised to halt further public disclosures about the royal family's inner workings. The deal included a substantial financial settlement and a carefully curated role that would allow Harry to maintain his independence while contributing to select charitable causes #under the royal banner. William, however, saw it as nothing short of treason. "You're rewarding his disloyalty," he shouted, slamming his fist on the desk. "He's made a mockery of us, and now you're giving him a lifeline." Charles rose, his voice calm but firm. "Enough, William. This is not about rewarding Harry. It's about preserving what little unity we have left. The monarchy cannot afford a public scandal." But William wasn't listening. He stormed out of the study, his mind racing. Harry had crossed a line, and now the king was complicit. William vowed to himself that he would uncover every detail of this deal and ensure it never saw the light of day. Across the Atlantic, Harry sat in his sunlit living room of his Montecito home, sipping coffee as Meghan scrolled through her phone nearby. Their children, Chi and Lilibet, played in the garden, their laughter a stark contrast to the tense iron Harry felt creeping into his chest. He had just received a cryptic message from a palace insider. Ilime knows. "Meg," Harry began, his voice low, "I think we're in trouble." Meghan looked up, her brow furrowing. "What do you mean?" "The deal with your father." Harry nodded, running a hand through his hair. "Someone's leaked it to William. He's furious. I knew he'd react badly, but this feels different." Meghan set her phone down, her eyes sharp with concern. "What exactly did the message say?" Harry pulled out his phone and read aloud, "William's on a warpath. He's digging into the agreement. Be prepared." Meghan leaned back, exhaling slowly. "He's not going to let this go, is he?" Harry shook his head. "No. He sees it as a betrayal, not just of him, but F the entire institution. He's always been about duty above everything. This deal, it's I'm undermining everything he stands for." The deal had been Harry's lifeline, a way to mend fences with his father while maintaining the life he and Meghan had built. It wasn't about returning to royal fold full-time. It was about selective engagements, charity events, low-profile appearances, that would allow Harry to contribute without being suffocated by the palace's rules. The financial settlement was to ensure stability for his family, especially after their security funding had been cut. But to William, it was a backdoor maneuver, a way for Harry to have his cake and #D eat it too. Back in London, William was already mobilizing. He summoned his most trusted aide, Sir Edward Langley, to Kensington Palace. The TWO sat in a dimly lit office, papers strewn across the table. "I want every detail of this deal," William said, his voice cold. Who #rafted it? Who approved it? How much money is involved? And what exactly Harry's getting out of it? "I need leverage." Sir Edward, a seasoned strat #Aegist with a knack for discretion, nodded. "Your Highness, this could get messy. If we expose the deal publicly, it risks dragging the king into the SC #andal. Are you sure you want to go down this path?" William's eyes narrowed. "Harry's been airing your dirty laundry for years. If he thinks he can sneak back in without consequences, he's wrong. I'll stop this, Edward. Whatever it takes." As William dug deeper, the palace became a battleground of whispers and allegiances. Courtiers loyal to the king tried to keep the deal under wraps, but William's influence was formidable. He enlisted a small circle of allies, including Kate, who was torn between supporting her husband and fearing the fallout. "William, please," Kate said one evening in their private quarters, her voice soft but urgent. "This could tear the family apart for #D. Can't you talk to Harry? Find some middle ground." William's face hardened. "Middle ground? Kate, he's been profiting off our pain, telling the world we're the villains. And now father's rewarding him for it. I can't let that stand." Kate reached for his hand, her touch gentle but firm. "I know you're hurt. But think about what this will do to the monarchy. The press will have a field day. The public #ill take sides. Is that what you want?" William pulled away, pacing the room. "What I want is for Harry to stop playing the victim. He made his choice when he left. He doesn't get to waltz back in like nothing happened." Meanwhile, in California, Harry and Meghan strategized. They knew Liam's temper, his unyielding sense of duty. If he found a way to derail the deal, it could jeopardize their financial security and their carefully crafted independence. Meghan suggested going public first, controlling the narrative through a carefully worded statement or interview. "No," Harry said firmly. "That's what William expects. He's waiting for me to make a move so he see and paint me as the traitor again. We need to be smarter." Their solution came from an unlikely source. Lady Victoria Pembroke, a distant cousin of the royal family and a longtime friend of Harry's. Victoria, a savvy political operator with connections in both London and Los Angeles, had caught wind of William's investigation through her #WN network of informants. She flew to Montecito under the guise of a social visit, but her real purpose was to warn Hawaii and offer a plan. "William's building a case to discredit you," Victoria said. "So #ping tea in the couple's living room. He's got people combing through the deal's paperwork, looking for anything that could make it look like you're extorting the king. UN #E to counter this quietly. Find a way to prove the deal benefits the monarchy, not just you." Harry frowned. "How?" Liam's got the palace's ear. He's the future king. People will believe him over me." Victoria leaned forward, her eyes gleaming with determination. "Not if you have the right allies. There are still senior royals and courtiers who think William's too rigid, too obsessed with control. If you can get them on our side, you can neutralize his attack. Meghan raised an eyebrow. And #W, do we do that without starting a full-blown war? Victoria smiled. You play the long game. Leak just enough to the press to see our eat doubt about William's motives. Mark it look like he's the one causing division, not you. But it has to be subtle. No interviews, no big statements, use back channels. Harry hesitated. The idea of manipulating the narrative felt too close to the games he'd left behind in the palace. But Meghan nodded slowly. She's right, Harry. We can't just sit here and let William destroy everything we've worked for. We need to fight back, smartly. Over the next few weeks, a shadow war unfolded. Victoria's contacts planted carefully crafted stories in the British press, hinting at William's overzealous reaction to a minor family agreement. The stories didn't mention the deal directly, but suggested that William's personal vendetta against Harry was threatening the monarchy's stability. Public opinion began to shift, with some royal watchers questioning whether William's rigidity was a liability for the future king. William, however, was undeterred. Sir Edward uncovered a draft of the agreement, revealing the exact financial terms: £10 million over 5 years, plus a stipend for security. William saw it as a bribe, proof that Harry was exploiting the king's guilt. He decided to take a drastic step. He would confront the king publicly at the next Privy Council meeting, forcing Charles to choose between his sons in front of the monarchy's most powerful advisors. The meeting was held in the crimson-draped state room at Buckingham Palace. The air was thick with tension as William stood his voice steady, but laced with accusation. Your Majesty, why? I must raise a matter of grave concern. The secret agreement with the Duke of Sussex undermines the #gritty of this institution. I demand it be rescinded immediately. Gasps rippled through the room. The king's face paled, but he remained composed. #Ilime, this is neither the time nor the place. The matter is private and will be addressed as ch. Private. William shot back, his voice rising. When the Duke of Sussex profits from our family's name while tearing it apart #T in public, it is no longer private. It is a matter of state. The room fell silent #NT, the weight of William's words hanging heavy. The king's aide advisors exchanged uneasy glances, knowing this confrontation could spark a crisis. Harry, watching the news unfold from California, felt a pang of guilt. He hadn't wanted to drag his fat her into this. He called Ed Charles that night, the first direct conversation they'd had in months. Father, I'm sorry, Harry said, his voice thick with emotion. I didn't mean for this to happen. I just wanted a way to stay connected, to do some good without losing myself. Charles's voice was weary but kind. I know, Harry. But you and William, you're both so stubborn. You're more Ike than you realize. Harry swallowed hard. Do we do now? We wait, Charles said. William's made his move, but the game isn't over. In the days that followed, the press exploded with speculation. Headlines screamed of a royal feat and a monarchy in crisis. William's public outburst had backfired, painting him as petulant and vindictive #E. Harry and Meghan, guided by Victoria, stayed silent, letting the narrative shift in their favor. But the victory was bittersweet. Harry knew the rift with his brother was wider than ever, and no deal could bridge it. William, meanwhile, vowing to protect the crown at all costs, even if it meant destroying his brother's plans. The monarchy stood on a knife's edge, with T-Wo princes locked in a battle that could reshape its future. And as the world waged, the Q's